Christopher Rosen, Gold Derby, joined by J.K. Simmons, Oscar-winning actor, and who plays William Frawley in Aaron Sorkin's new film, Being the Ricardos. J.K., congratulations on the performance in the film. I guess I just wanted to start, what was your awareness level of William Frawley, before taking this part?
Well, as the only cast member who was actually born during the original run of I Love Lucy, I was, I think, more familiar than a lot of them. And it actually occurred to me recently that of the four of us portraying these iconic characters, I'm the only one that was born in this country. So I grew up when I Love Lucy was on the air, and my parents' little black and white TV, had it on every Monday night, and it was a part of my, my earliest memories was having it on.
So I guess for this, where'd you start? Like when you're cast, I know Aaron has said that he didn't want you guys impersonating them, obviously, like kind of playing more the characters that he wrote. But I'm sure you had it like how did you balance that kind of like freedom with maybe doing research to play him, I guess?
Yeah, it was an interesting balancing act, I think, for all of us. And in my case, the research was mostly through the three other characters. Vivian Vance and Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz all wrote books and all did talk show appearances, and William Frawley, Bill, was less of a public figure. He kind of kept to himself and hung out with baseball players and golfers and or whoever was sitting on the bar stool next to him. Desi was really his only close friend in the business, and he had a nice kind of uncle relationship with Lucille. And a very contentious relationship with Vivian. So everything I was able to find about him, other than his film appearances and footage from the show, obviously, was from other people's perspective, which ultimately proved really valuable in portraying, who the guy actually was, which, as he pointed out, was what Aaron was interested in. Not interested in a rich little impersonation of these characters. But having said that, of course, when we got to the recreations of the scenes that millions and millions and millions of people have watched time and again, we were doing our best to be faithful to that and recreate those.
So I was watching those scenes. I was thinking it's just, not to get too meta, but I'm like, you're obviously an actor. You're playing William Frawley, who is an actor, and then you're performing and playing Fred Mertz, who, as he would play him, I guess, right? So while I understand it's not just an impression, like you said, I don't know, how did you think about that and kind of reconcile that naughtiness? Because I just found it so fascinating, watching the film. I was like, that's really, because you're not doing it as you probably would do it, as J.K. Simmons. You're doing it as what Frawley did. So I guess, can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, it was really the classic play within the play. I mean, it's like you're one of the tinkers in A Midsummer Night's Dream. You're playing Bottom, which actually would have been a great part for Bill Frawley. That was another sort of level in the challenges, along with working with all these great actors and saying the words that Aaron blessed us all with on the page. And by the way, working with Aaron Sorkin, the director now, who I hope people will really begin to give him credit for how well he's fulfilled that role in the last couple of movies of his, but certainly in Being the Ricardos. He was a joy for all of us to work with, and by all of us, I mean both sides of the camera. Here endeth my Aaron Sorkin commercial. It was a pleasure. Did I answer your question? I hope so.
No, yeah, you did. But I wanted to actually talk about Aaron too. I know I've read interviews with you. I know you were an understudy as Colonel Jessup on A Few Good Men on Broadway. And I was looking back at your very lengthy resume, but it looked like you did an episode of The West Wing after Aaron left. So this is basically maybe you finally getting to do something with him or whatever. I guess it just feels like your acting style and your history of performance and his screenwriting are a perfect match. And it's a fan of both of you. It was great to see. So I guess had you always been hoping to work with him again, or how did that progress, I guess, in your career?
Yeah, I absolutely have. And we had 31 years ago, we had to to this day, I get goosebumps every time I talk about it. One of the greatest experiences of my life as an actor was the opportunity to go on as the understudy in A Few Good Men and play Lieutenant Colonel Nathan Jessup. And Aaron, generously, even though this was a year into the run, he came to see me on my opening night, came backstage after the show, and we had this meeting of the minds and hearts and souls, and then over the years, we had near miss after near miss, for one reason or another, not working together again. And I do hope it's not another 31 years, because I'm going to be a little on the old side by then. So it was just a great opportunity, and again, to be able to work with him now that he's directing his films as well. Such a great opportunity, and I'm reasonably confident that on stage or on screen we'll work together again relatively soon.
That's great. That's great to hear. I would say, and I'm sure other people watching this would agree. You mentioned Bill's relationship with Desi and Lucille and Vivian. They're all very different in the film. You get some great scenes with Javier, Nicole, and Nina. Obviously, were those relationships maybe surprising to you, or did you like that he was so maybe friendly? Like you said, like an uncle relationship with Lucille. I did not realize that myself. I would was that something you were aware of before this, or what were your thoughts on that, I guess?
I was unaware of any of those relationships or really any aspect of William Frawley off camera. And, we all have those friends who are, let's just go ahead and be honest, fanatics for I Love Lucy. And my friend Alan Filderman, who's a casting director in New York, when the word went out that I was going to be playing Bill Frawley, I got a text from him like the next minute saying, come over to my house. I got 9 books you need to read, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to, catch you up on who this guy was. And he was, really, until I got to work with Aaron, my most valuable resource in terms of finding out who this guy was. Yeah, and among the things that were complete surprises to me was the contentious relationship that he and Vivian had the entire time, beginning with their first table read of the first episode of the show. And it never got better. But then the relationship that he built with Desi, who really became his best friend, certainly his best friend in show business, and the kind of, as you said, the sort of avuncular uncle, if I'm using that word correctly, relationship, the favorite niece relationship that he had with Lucille, and it was great. One of the things that Aaron does so brilliantly is pepper in those little moments of based on his own research, and sometimes based on things that that Javier or Nicole or Nina or I would bring to him and say, hey, I just read this. Did you know this? And he said, yeah. He said, and of course he did, but he said, yeah. We'll see if we can find a moment to to display that if that's an aspect that's important to you. It was. And I'm digressing as I always do, but one of the best aspects of any production was the collaboration of it, and Aaron, both as a writer and as a director, was the ultimate collaborator, which just took this experience to the highest possible level for me.
Yeah, I'm not totally surprised because the proof I think is on the screen. Like all of you guys work so well together. I think the cast is so, it's just a great ensemble. I want to talk a little about you and Nina. Obviously, like you said, Bill and Vivian Vance definitely did not get along. And I'm like, you guys, you and Nina are so funny and so quick. And I just feel like you must, maybe you could say I'm totally wrong, but I was like, you must seemingly get along. So I was like playing that offbeat, like playing two people who obviously don't like each other, but the chemistry you have, it weirdly seems like so tight. I guess, can you talk about working with her and like kind of honing that chemistry? Because obviously I know you shot this during COVID, so I would imagine there weren't a lot of like rehearsal time or anything to get that like chemistry that maybe you would in a pre-coronavirus era. But I just was so impressed by the two of you together.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a combination of a lot of things. Nina and I were actually working together on the 4th season of Goliath when both of us got the call. It was, I think, our last week of shooting when we both got the sort of official call about, we want you to do this film. And our characters on Goliath didn't really intersect until that last episode. So we had just met. Obviously, we're both very excited and somewhat daunted by the possibility of playing these characters. And, immediately, and throughout the whole process, we're in touch on the phone and texting and emailing. But yes, not rehearsing much. I think the fact that we both have the theater background really was helpful in that regard. Certainly helpful in terms of being able to master Aaron's dialogue and the people talk about it as, oh, it's fast, it's fast, it's fast. Well, yeah, sometimes it is. It's rhythmic is what it is. It's musical is what it is. It's not always fast, but it's as important in Aaron Sorkin dialogue as it is in anything I can think of to really be able to listen to the other actor and not just be, waiting for your cue, and fortunately all these actors and Nina in particular in our scenes together was, really adept at that, and we had a great time just throwing that ball back and forth, to use another sports metaphor, and because we didn't have much rehearsal or really any other than the read-through, and because we weren't doing 17 takes. I mean, it was often it was take two and let's move on. It was definitely like being shot out of a cannon, and it was good to have the support of not only the maestro Aaron Sorkin, but everybody else in the cast really being on their A game.
Yeah, I'm glad you called it. I was thinking when I was watching, I was like, yeah, it's very musical. I feel like it is. It's that pacing. It just sings the dialogue. You know what I mean? And it's like very. Yeah, it just does it. And there are certain performers I think who do it really well. Obviously, I think this cast is loaded with them, which is part of the reason why the movie works as well as it does. I mean, this film has gotten a lot. I think the reviews are coming out soon. I think a lot of people have been really taken by it, and certainly the performance and stuff. I know obviously you're an Oscar winner for Whiplash and went through that whole award season. What is your take on the awards process, or the buzz that you're maybe going to get or you could get around a project like this, and how do you consider now, especially having gone through it with Whiplash, I guess?
Well, thank you for opening that door, because here's what I've been wanting to do. Campaign openly for every award show that gives ensemble awards, because not only the four of us, but Tony Hale and Alia Shawkat and Jake Lake, and there are 64 actors, principal actors, who are credited in this movie, none of whom are less than excellent. This is, I'm going to say, the most remarkable ensemble of actors I've ever been up on screen with. So from top to bottom, I mean literally, people with one line, people that don't even really have a line, but have a featured shot. It's just, and that's credit to casting director and everybody else too. But really, an unbelievable cast in this movie.
You mentioned, I'm thinking when you said that, I regretfully don't know the actor's name, but there's this great scene when you and Nicole are going, or Bill and Lucille are going to a bar, and the page is she's firing notes at him, and that guy's just so fun. It's very funny, even in that little sequence.
He's a perfect example. Josh, and terrible, I'm not going to remember his last name. Josh. Yes. He was impeccable, and he was, and for characters like that, or like Ray Perkins, who has the scene as the big boss man at the big table, who's a wonderful actor and a German guy who's been around forever. But when you're playing scenes with gigantic movie stars, and you're number 37 on the call sheet, I mean, that is and I've done that. That is a very, very intimidating and difficult thing to pull off in an Aaron Sorkin movie, And I'm telling you, everybody in the final analysis just came through like gangbusters.
Yeah, I know we have to wrap up here soon. You mentioned this a little earlier, how people are so connected to these characters, right? They have such an abiding, or these, the real life people. They're not characters. I guess, for both, I guess, right? So, when you have, what do you what do you think fans who are like not, what would you say to, like, I don't know, not necessarily assuage any concerns people have or whatever, because I think the proof is in the film, but like, what would you like, what would you tell a I Love Lucy super fan, I guess, before seeing this, or like what would you suggest to them? I don't know.
Well, I would say open your mind, open your heart, watch the movie, and with the understanding that, as Aaron announced to us all at our read-through on the roof of a parking structure, this is a drama about a comedy, and it's an interesting animal in that way. Not that there aren't lots of very funny moments in it, but at its heart, it's a love story, a drama about a time and a place and a remarkable group of people. So, man, just sit back and enjoy the movie, and I think if you go in with an open mind, you're going to have a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I love that. It's definitely a drama, but you are, and especially your part, you're very funny in it, and like I'm still quoting to my friends you're like, oh, you're going to get a drink at 10, and you're like, it's 10:15 somewhere, which is a great, just a classic joke. J.K. Simmons, an Oscar winner for Whiplash, who plays Will Frawley in Being the Ricardos. Thank you so much, J.K. Great speaking with you.
Thank you. My pleasure.